It's Friday Fun Day! There's only coffee in here, I promise. So this week's topic is works in progress. And I have to admit, I never have just one. So I'm just going to show you my brief stack of notebooks that I use to keep track of some of my projects. Only some. In fact, the current works in progress don't have their own notebooks yet. They're kind of just scattered throughout various other notebooks that I have randomly in my computer. So the ones I'm working on right now, the one I'm toying with that I started for Camp Nano, was one that I kind of resurrected. It's an old fantasy, and there's a princess involved and a singer, and there's music, and I figured, hey, I'm passionate about music, why not just add some of that to my stories, because I don't have a lot in some of my other stories. I also have a romance that I actually finished like 2 years ago. Best NaNoWriMo finish ever. I managed to get from beginning to end of a basic romance story, and I think I actually made a breakthrough today, so I might be able to get that one a little farther off the ground. But it's your basic Hallmark, you know, girl goes to the big city, girl has big breakup, a really lousy thing happened to her, runs back home, spends time with her family, meets an old flame, they hit it off again, stuff happens, and then eventually, you know, they get married. It's the best kind. I have a superhero story, and some of that's in here. I don't know if it's ever going to work out. I like the idea, but it's really not super realistic. No pun intended. And then some of this is in here. I had to move it over. It's an urban, not a fantasy, urban sci-fi. I don't know if I'm going to put any supernatural elements in there. I might, but it's more along the lines of like Leverage with a futuristic kick. And then we have another fantasy. This one's more of a fantasy romance because it's built more like a romance story, but takes place in a fantasy world. And the characters are just awesome and I love them. But I haven't worked on it in a long time, and it's in timeout right now. And then we come to my biggest, oldest work in progress, which started out in this notebook. And I think I have like 4 pages at the end here that aren't filled in, so I'm actually really proud of myself for finishing out a notebook, but there's tons of other notes and things. This was loosely based, actually a few of my stories, the urban sci-fi, the fantasy romance, and then this are loosely based on some role-playing games that I was in. I say loosely because I really wanted it to look more original and not really take intellectual property from the people whose characters are played. So I just changed it a lot and made it into my own thing. Which is probably why they just don't get off the ground, because I want it to be right, and it's not. It will be eventually, when I have some discipline. But that last notebook moved into this one. It's bigger, it's got a lot more space that I can work with. That's a big fantasy with sweeping epic stuff. It's probably going to be like 6-7 books when I'm done with it, if I ever get done with it. But it's also in timeout right now because I work on it for a while and then I stop and then I work on it. That's kind of my MO. It's what I do. That's pretty much it right now. This is a nice, easy topic to answer this week. So shout outs. I'll start with Lydia from last week. Lydia, I love your videos. They're adorable. You're so organized. But I totally feel you with the chaotic neutral thing. You are far more disciplined than I am, but I feel that brain connection. Joy, I always love your work, and I'm so excited to see some of your original stuff. Guy, your drawing this week was hysterical and dark, but I especially love the guy taking the video on his camera. That was perfect. But I always love your writing too. I think that you should write more, and you should just write it all out. Don't let your wall of awful hang you up. Jake, happy anniversary, and Joy too. Happy anniversary, you guys. I can't believe it's been 4 years. 4 years already. That's so awesome. Congratulations. And Jake, I'm so excited for your new idea. I'm always like your take on war stories. So I think it's going to be very interesting. You have very vivid, interesting characters. Brandon, I'm looking forward to hearing more about your story. It's really cool to hear new people's story ideas and the things that they come up with. This is always so much fun. Thank you guys so much for watching, and drop a like. Any questions, any interesting things, tell me about your works in progress. If you happen to watch this and you have something, I want to hear about it. It would be awesome. Tomorrow is Lydia again, and I can't wait to hear about her work in progress. And then after that will be Joy with a new topic that I did look it up this time, but I can't remember what it is. So you'll find out on Sunday. Anyway, have a great weekend. Cheers!